Hey guys, Car Guru here with an interesting one for you all today. Now, a subscriber recently reached out to me and said that he loved Tesla, loves the company, but he wanted to get into one as cheaply as possible. He didn't have enough money for a used or a CPO one. He wanted to find a salvage one that needed a little bit of work to get it back on the road. Well, I think I found just the car for this person. It's the cheapest Tesla that's running and driving for sale right now. Check it out. I'm gonna go over the car from top to bottom. I'm gonna give my official Car Guru thumbs up for buy or thumbs down for pass. Let me know what you guys think about this car.
Let's take a look at this car. This appears to be the least expensive running and driving Tesla Model S that's available right now. It's a 2013 model. It's a buy it now of $22,000 US. Let's take a look at these photos of this car. If you look a little bit carefully here, it looks like the wheels were painted at one point. If you scroll over the next one, they didn't do a very good job painting those wheels, but it's 22 grand, so it's not a big deal. There's also some damage back here right in front of the rear wheel. So that rear, so right here, if you could look on that quarter panel, there's some damage there. And there's some damage here on the quarter panel itself in the rear, higher near the taillight, but the wheel is not damaged. That's kind of interesting. So the rear bumper is cracked. It's an 85D apparently. The interior is very clean, so that's good. No airbags are blown. 180,000 miles. Wow. That thing's been around the block a few times, I see. The car is in California somewhere. And if you look at that exclamation mark, the car is throwing some error message. The previous owner's name was David. It has an internet connection, and that's good because perhaps the car was not shut off by Tesla. And that's more VIN information. So let's go through this car top to bottom. Here's the lot number, the odometer with 180,000 miles. It's a featured vehicle. And let's see what a featured vehicle means. That means it's highlighted by Copart as a vehicle that's likely to generate high interest, okay? And it runs and drives, which is key. For $22,000, you can get a running and driving Tesla Model S. This is your gateway into getting your very first Tesla for very little money. The estimated retail value is $48,000. That's the VIN number. The body style, that's blank. Color is blue. And I'm sure you guys can read. All right, so if you want it today, you could either buy it right now or you could make an offer, which is interesting. So you could very well get this car for less than 22. I'm thinking you might be able to get it for 20, which is good, but there is a reserve on this car, so he's not really going to take much less than 22, I don't think. So you slide an offer between 19 and 20, you might get it, but it's not really going to go much lower than that. I'm going to show you some tricks that these places use to make the cars a lot prettier, but a lot of things aren't adding up on this vehicle. If you look here at this rear badge, it says it's an 85D, right? On the display, it does not say D, but the key is that the dual motor cars were not available in this model year. So that's an immediate red flag right there. Also, if you look at the frunk, if this was a dual motor car, there would be a motor right here, essentially, and this frunk space would be a lot smaller. So that's definitely an area for concern. So there's definitely some shenanigans going around here. So what I usually do after that, I usually look here on the right-hand side and I see the sale information, and it says it's for sale by CA Los Angeles Inspection Services. I don't want to go into too much detail about that, but if the car isn't being sold by an insurance company directly, a lot of the times these inspection services could lead to some potential issues with the car. A lot of times they've been known to go through the car, take certain things off, make the car look a certain way and look more sellable so that the car gets more attention and therefore sells for more. And one of those things could be that little D right here that they may or may not have added. I don't want to call any names, but someone definitely added that for some reason to increase the value of the car. Also, there's also a dent. You can't really see it because of the reflections, but there's also a dent in that rear hatch. So this car definitely sustained some damage. It looks like it was hit in the rear and also the side. The mileage should, for some, that might scare you away with 180,000 miles, but the way Teslas operate is that the drive unit is pretty good, and Tesla has a good warranty on them. So with 180,000 miles, that means this drive unit was probably replaced, I don't know, maybe 50 times or so. I don't really shy away from the high mileage cars because I assume that the owner took decent care of it, and when it was under warranty, which it's probably not anymore, it was taken to Tesla. Tesla probably reached out to him and said, hey, your car needs service, please bring it in. So with 180,000 miles, a person actually drove it and brought it through its paces. So I'm not really that worried about that. Now let's get into the good stuff here. The deciding factor as to whether or not I would purchase this vehicle all lies with this answer right here. So let's just copy this VIN number. And what I like to do, I like to play this game called Google the VIN to see what the car looked like before. And oh yeah, there it is. The games are being played already. Yeah, this is interesting. This is the sold auction. Wow, look at that. So this is what this car, so this car you're looking at right now, the car with the wheel intact, it doesn't look that bad. This is what it used to look like. Check that out. It had no wheel at all. Oh, so many things to talk about here. Look at this. And it has a photo of the actual odometer with the sign that says stability control disabled. So that's definitely something that they didn't show you in this last photo here. Ah, they're smart. They took a picture of the center display instead of the actual odometer because it wouldn't show any error messages here. Ah, they're getting clever, huh? This is what I was kind of telling you about when it comes to the inspection services places. Again, I don't want to sound kind of, negative towards them, but a lot of times this can happen with that. If it's not by the insurance company, if it's from an inspectional facility, it has the potential for a lot of these things to happen. So let's go over this real quick. Let's go with a couple of things that aren't adding up. It looks like they obviously replaced the front tire. It looks like they may have just kind of band-aided that wheel on. If you look at this photo right here on the newest listing, that wheel isn't sitting straight. So I'm not really sure how many of the suspension pieces that they purchased to have that wheel sitting the correct way. It also looks like they did some work to that rear bumper. Not any bond or physical work, but they might have just zip tied it because it's just kind of hanging on there. This car was pretty torn up. I think they just took this same rim, maybe spray painted it black again, and just slapped it right back on. You could actually see the ABS sensor is torn off and that strut is actually still attached to that wheel. So there's other connection pieces in the back like the the upper lower control arms that could be dangling or even missing. So if you were to purchase this car, keep that in mind. If you look at the interior is very dusty. So that leads you to believe that there must have been a window that was open at some point to let all that dust in, and the proof's in the pudding right there. The sunroof was left open. So there may have been some water left in this car from rainwater as well. There's floor mats in there. The interior is all dusty. The front is dusty. And the stability control disabled light is on. That could be an easy fix. That could just be related to those wires that are kind of sticking out here. And that could be the ABS sensor or the vehicle speed sensor right here at the back. That could just be that torn wire. That could be an easy thing to resolve. If you look at this carefully, there's a sticker that has an N on it on this car in this photo, and if you look even more carefully, there's no D sticker at the end of the 85. So they took off the N so the car wouldn't be very recognizable, and they also added a D sticker on the rear as well. So this could really trip someone up. You could actually go to purchase one of these Teslas, right? Assume it's a dual motor, purchase it, get it home, and then realize unfortunately that it's not a dual motor car. This is from the previous auction that took place Friday, October 27th of 2017, so quite a few months ago. Now, the primary damage on this car was rear end, and the secondary damage was the front end. Let's look at this. Primary damage is now the side, and the secondary damage is now the rear end. Okay, that's interesting. Now check this out. In 2013, Tesla Model S, the estimated retail value is $36,824, and now with all the edits and modifications that they've done, it's now worth $48,000. So you see everything's changing here. There's a lot of different aspects to this, and there's a lot of different areas you have to look at when you're going into these Teslas. They're not really an easy or transparent thing to figure out, especially when it comes to these auction lots. And these cars they garner so much attention and they bring in so much money. This is definitely in their favor to do a lot of these things. Where are the floor mats? They stole those. So there's some all-weather floor mats in there in that photo. And in this one, the floor mats are gone. So they stole, I don't want to accuse anyone of stealing, but the floor mats went missing. Maybe they put them in the trunk, but I highly doubt it. But yeah, this is this car, it really is what it is. You really can't expect this car to drive straight and true without a proper alignment. I think there's some suspension pieces that need attention. in the rear. It does have the keys, which is definitely a good thing. I would probably purchase this vehicle. The suspension in the rear of these cars isn't terribly complicated, so I think with a really good eBay search, once you get the car, and a good scouting for parts that could be potentially bent or out of spec, I think this could be put together and driven straight and true. But it's definitely worth, I would say, at least 18 to 19,000. And after putting a few thousand more, you could have a decent high mileage Tesla Model S for, I'd say, $25,000. But this isn't bad at all. The only thing I'd worry about, like I said before, is the suspension components, because those are definitely wear and tear items. Like you never know, you might need a new front strut or 2 front struts or all 4 struts all the way around the vehicle, and miscellaneous odds and ends right there. The good thing is that this seat doesn't look terribly worn. It's kind of funny how it looks like the car's never been really sat in before. If you look at the driver's seat, it doesn't look that bad. I would say for the shade tree mechanic that wants to get into a relatively inexpensive Tesla Model S, I would probably go for this one, depending on your pain tolerance. I mean, it's 20 grand. You could clean this car up very nicely, put a nice set of rims and tires on it, fix up the suspension, give it a new paint job, or you could just drive it as is after you fix the suspension. You could have a really good deal on the Tesla. So I would give this car the Car Guru thumbs up for me personally. I wouldn't shy away from this one at all. I've done much worse, and I think you could really get a good deal for this one. Lot number 227-33868 on Copart. Well, someone might snatch it up after this video. In terms of the car getting updates or whether or not it's serviceable by Tesla or if it supercharges, I would believe that this car does supercharge, and I say that because the airbags have not deployed. So I believe that this car hasn't really sent a message back to the mothership saying, hey, I need help. Please deactivate me, or I haven't been in a serious accident, because I wouldn't consider this as a serious accident for most cars. It looks like it was hit the side and a piece of the suspension broke off. But either way, I would say it's a pretty decent deal. So have at it, Tigers.
Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I have to get back to some Tesla builds, as you can see here in the background. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for some more hardcore Tesla content, humor, sarcasm, and sexual innuendos. Take it easy, guys.